Now we move to the environmental team, Danka and Koen, and you are all ready to vote. And I'm paraphrasing them a bit. As population grows and urbanization increases, waste and wastewater will grow and needs to be made an asset. Do you agree or do you disagree? There are some dissenting views, but majority are in agreement with this statement, with this assumption. The second one is World Water Week will show that wastewater is not a waste anymore, but a resource being adequately and safely used. And I appreciated that one myself very much. Do you agree? Yeah, again, most agree, a few dissenting views. And finally, to reduce and reuse waste, a combination of approaches, legal, economic, administrative training, etc., will work better than only regulation. So again, the case for an integrated approach. Please, environmental team.
Thank you. I'm surprised that we had almost unanimous votes. However, in our group, you will now listen to our results. I'm going to share my presentation with Koen. We were 7 in group, and in total, over this week, we attended 75 sessions.
Wow.
It was very busy. We met again every morning. Well, I saw that most of on the first hypothesis, which we created in the day 1, where we didn't know what to expect. Most of you put the green up, but our results are yes, 50%, no, 50%. And the arguments for that yes, waste and wastewater are considered to have a big potential to be the resource. But I would like to emphasize the big potential rather than actually being the resource. And no is that too much waste and wastewater still end up in the environment. The very similar situation was in one of the sessions where there was, before the session, 88% of the audience thought the reuse was the solution to water scarcity. However, after the seminar, at the end of the session, this percentage dropped and only 52% thought that it is the solution and 49% thought that the portfolio of solution is needed. But big no comes because of emerging pollutants. We still have little information and knowledge about the past and fate, and there is a lack of instruments to address them. So probably it will be a big challenge to our first hypothesis. Obviously, we try to define what are challenges and opportunities, and I'm not going to repeat them as they were already reported by Mark Batts and by you, probably only to say that the severe pollution of rivers, deteriorated ecosystem, and increased the health impact, this is still the fact, and you have many drivers to that. As opportunities, the waste and wastewater contain water, nutrients, carbon. So it's waiting for us to be used. There are technological innovations already being applied, but they could help a lot. Come with findings. We have a shared presentation.
Thank you. So addressing our second hypothesis, our findings of actually reuse in practice right now. We heard about a lot of cases, and we grouped them into 3 clusters to make it a bit more easy to grasp. So these are agriculture use, urban use, and industry use, and then we have the case of textile especially. So first for agriculture, we found that actually there is already a lot of reuse of water in agriculture, also historically, of course. And this can be done in 4 different ways. So you can have reuse of treated or untreated water, and you can have indirect or direct use. And indirect here refers to discharge of wastewater into rivers and then reuse kind of downstream. And actually non-treated indirect use is the biggest reuse of wastewater right now. As you can imagine, this brings along health concerns. And we heard that there are already guidelines in place for safe reuse, but it's clear that these are yeah, in a lot of cases not yet implemented. Another take-home message for reuse in agriculture we found was that we all live downstream. Even though your house is upstream, you consume food that is produced downstream, and especially for the new emerging pollutants, it's really everybody's problem. So moving on to reuse in urban areas, it's a little bit more of a future look. We think that in greening and bluing cities of the future, these cities can be fed with reused water. And also these future cities will have different types of utility leaders in which communities are engaged. And also multi-purpose facilities are used to manage the water. So this means that in these places, in these facilities, communities can come together and learn about water and get connected to water. So for the perhaps smaller cities and less densely populated areas, we think that alternative and more decentralized techniques are a good opportunity. And these can also present or really facilitate more small-scale reuse and recovery options. So now Danka will tell you about the industry case.
Yeah, because I was a very strong member of scientific program committee to defend the textile industry to be on stage. And why it is like that? We should realize textile industry is the second biggest polluter of the environment. Yeah? And it's something what we have on us. And from the cotton to our fashion and up to the detergents, which especially women we are using. However, very positive findings which we found, and I will pick up one and I will name it directly, Sweden Textile Water Initiative. It was very impressive, and I think it must go to the report because this is achievement of and the big giants. 40 Swedish textile industrial giants, which are all over the world, they are able to save 2.5 million of cubic meter of water saved annually, with 1,140 tons of chemicals reduced annually, and with 12,000 team members contributed to a return of 89%. So these numbers, sometimes we do not like numbers, but they are tangible and they are concrete.
Thank you very much for that specific illustration, Danka. Appreciate it.
One more slide I have, because we were asked, what is new this year? And the question was given to me because this is probably my 10th Water Week. and I saw that anything could be new, yeah? But it is, yes. What we noted, and probably as a conclusion and a message to take home, that yes, there was already documentation of accelerated progress of countries, developing countries and transition countries, which are already implementing SDGs. I would again name some of them: China, Uganda, Colombia, Jordan, Kenya. These are evidence which we saw in our seminars. Maybe we didn't capture everything. And looking ahead, the final slide.
So me as a youth looking ahead and also addressing our third hypothesis, I think in general we found that there is not really a need to make new instruments and frameworks, but we do really need to focus on the enforcement and the engagement of the public, again, with moral persuasions. And if we do this in combination with innovative approaches like green infrastructure, decentralized techniques, we just heard some, there are many more, then yeah, we can really look ahead positively. Also, to mention it again, community-focused solutions are very important. We have one very nice example of a story we heard where there were new wastewater treatment, or I should say wastewater pipes installed, and the local people, they destroyed these pipes immediately after they were built because clearly they did not think it was a solution. Just somebody who built the pipes thought it was a solution. That's, of course, yeah, not a solution. So finally, for looking ahead, we want to conclude that to do good policy and to engage the public, you need a good scientific background and have strong data to communicate and to motivate and convince people. looking at the SDGs, we believe from everything what we heard that if we set the right priorities, if we do investments and we have a strong and if we have the same vision, then we can, by investing in reuse, reduce and recycle, do a very big push towards several SDGs, among which where we mainly focused on are the SDGs 6, 13, 14 and 15. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, Torkel, last reflections.
Yeah, I have one very positive one and then a puzzling one. I think all the green shows that we are all in the same circular economy church, right? Everybody.
Yeah.
But we don't go into that church with our eyes closed. And I think particularly, so the emerging chemicals, every day, every year, something crops up that we didn't think about before that is in there and was never, in Denmark, I'm Danish, last week we found a new pesticide. We never looked for it, we never treated for it. One waterwork found it, and now, hey, we have to do something about it. And this is going to happen again and again. And therefore, I think that we're in the church, but with caution. And I also think, you know, the number we saw is that 0.3% of treated wastewater is used, while 10 to 15% is untreated. And that, again, it's a word of caution here. But I mean, everything else, I think we were very much in tune with what was said in the seminar. But my question, I didn't hear climate change at all. I heard SDGs, I didn't hear Paris. I mean, the 2030 agenda is also Paris, and I think in the environment area, I'm surprised if you did not pick that up, because a lot of the challenge and a lot of the policies that we need to address the environmental will have to be related to how we do the NDCs and the Paris Agreement. So it's a question to the team, since you didn't mention it, didn't you hear it, or do we just, it puzzles me.
Yeah.
Maybe I can be allowed to ask that question to the team.
Yeah, quick response, because now
Environmental team, yes, we didn't attend those seminars. Only 75 of the arsenal of the events, and these 75 didn't mention, or if they mentioned, we didn't focus. Of course, you cannot say that no, yeah, but we found that we are going to report on more interesting stuff.
Okay, thank you very much.